Welcome to the Do Zone, where entrepreneurs go to get things done. I'm your host, Josh Thomas. You can find me on all social media at JT Literally. Each week, I bring on experts from a variety of backgrounds to share their secrets on how to optimize performance so you can take massive action and crush your goals. The Do Zone is sponsored by Conversational Funnels, a new way to close deals in 2025 that doesn't rely on any of the old traditional methods everyone hates. We use this method to book 121 sales calls in 10 days without any ad spend, outreach, or endless social posting. You can download the free step-by-step blueprint that shows exactly how we did it at conversationalfunnels.com. Once again, that's conversationalfunnels.com. Today's guest is Robin Waite. Robin is the founder of Fearless Business, a regular speaker at various business events, and best-selling author of several books, including Online Business Startup, Marketing Machine, and the recent popular release, Take Your Shot. Robin, welcome to the Do Zone. Tell us something you believe is the key to getting stuff done that most people wouldn't think of.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate you inviting me onto the show. Well, I'm probably going to go against a lot of the trends. There's AI and there's some wonderful tools out there that help you to be far more productive these days. I've actually found one of the simplest ways to get more stuff done is to go manual, like old school. So I set out, and I can show you here. I don't know if, but obviously for people who are listening to this on the podcast, this is just a postcard with some check boxes on it that I've slowly been filling in because I set out on a mission to do Operation Podblast, which was to guest on at least 30 podcasts towards the back end of last year. And then I hit that, I booked them and I hit that, and then I've stretched it and I've even had to go onto the back of the card. The reason this is so good, because I know you can get apps like Todoist, send you reminders and things like that. I spend all day looking at screens and things like that and trying to get my kids off screens. But with this, it's sat on my desk, and the moment I come into my office, and maybe if I don't have a call to jump onto or an interview to do or something like that, I'm like, oh, what should I do with my time? This is here as like a permanent reminder. Well, go and book another podcast. Have you actually sent out the notes for the next one and things like that? So like manual and old school has helped me to book well in excess of 50 podcasts in the last quarter.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. And just the physical reminder of this, where it says, I did this. Look, here's the proof.
That's
And
it.
yeah,
And
and
you don't have to
you're
think about like what's the next step. It's like it's there and it's clear. If you want to keep hitting the goal, tick another box and away you go. And like it's easy to hit the ignore and snooze button on your phone or on like emails and things like that. So
stop
yeah, can't
spying on me,
escape
Robin.
this.
You don't know how many times I hit snooze this morning, but
So
but
easily.
yeah. No, I know. I love that idea of taking what you want to do and making it an actual physical action, because there's sometimes there's this disconnect between the way our brain works and the way our brain actually retains information. And it reminds me of the concept of language learning. If you're learning another language and you're just sitting there and reading it, you're never verbalizing it. You're never like interacting physically with it. You're never going to retain it. Like it's
Mm.
impossible to learn a language by just listening to it. Same thing here. It's kind of impossible to hit a goal by just like thinking about it. You have to take some actions.
Yeah, well, that's it as well. You have to remember, I know I probably look younger than I'm going to say that I am, but I'm 43 and I've been in business for 20 plus years as well. There is also this point where you get slightly desensitized to a lot of these like learning new things, like constantly picking up new tools and things like that. It can actually get a little bit overwhelming. And yeah, I'm not over the hill yet, but even at 43, I'm starting to struggle with some of those neural pathways to remember stuff. And also it simplifies business. I think it's really easy with a lot of the technology there that just because we can do stuff doesn't always mean that we should do it. And I think a lot of business owners get lulled into, oh, we see the next shiny thing and then we add it into our stack, whatever that looks like. And then all of a sudden they're like, I get a lot of people come to me as a coach. So I say, oh God, I'm really overwhelmed with all the stuff I've got to do. And it's like, well, actually, how much of that is making a meaningful difference to your business? We about 80/20, like Pareto's principle. I think there was a book which came out which was called the 4% rule, which is like find the 20% of the 20%.
Mm.
And the idea is, for those who aren't familiar with it, is that with 80/20, 20% of the inputs into your business or your life, the things that you do, produce or contribute towards 80% of the outputs.
Mhm.
So we spend like a vast majority of our time doing these things which aren't actually terribly productive, but we think we should be doing it. And if you can really acutely optimize it, it's like so the reason I focus on podcasts is because I know in order to build partnerships, meet interesting people and things like that, like podcasts and speaking gigs tend to be the best ways to achieve that. Not only that, but they're also fun. So all I've done is just chosen to choose one thing which shapes my life around creating more of those opportunities.
It's interesting. You mentioned 80/20. A long time ago, I worked for a guy named Perry Marshall, and we hosted an event called the Star Principle event. And we had Richard Koch, who is the author of the 80/20 principle, as a guest speaker. And this guy, first of all, amazing dude. But he was like, I don't know, 70 something at the time.
Mm.
And he came in, speaking of 80, this is Mr. 80/20. He comes in, he gets on the stage, he has his slides. He goes through like five or six of them for about 45 minutes. And then he finishes and he's like, all right, thanks. And they're like, oh, I guess we're breaking for lunch. He's like, I'm done. And we're like, wait, that was less than an hour. We're here for 3 days, man. Like these people, like they paid like thousands of dollars to spend time with him. And he's like, what more do you want me to say? I said everything that needed to be said. Why are we wasting time on this?
That's brilliant. That makes do you know Perry Marshall? So I forget he co-authored a book called Detox, Declutter, and Dominate. You probably have you read that
Okay.
one? So in
Not yet, no.
yeah. So in it, it's got I give copies of it to clients when they sign up because I absolutely love Perry's such a smart guy. But he coined the phrase, didn't he? 80/20ing your business as like a
Uh,
verb. Um, but so and the book Detox, Declutter, and Dominate, it talks about the 7 principles of creating a Renaissance business.
mhm.
Do you know how that book actually came about? And I don't know how true this story is because I didn't hear this from Perry. I've heard it sort of on the grapevine.
Tell
So
me what you got.
apparently he wrote like a 400-word book, and the overwhelming feedback was that it was too long, it was boring, and people couldn't get to the nuts of like, you know, they couldn't get the principles out of the book easily.
That sounds
So
about right.
yes, so they created this detox declutter dot. In fact, I'll get a copy. So
All
it's
right.
literally, this is it. So, and it's literally like yay
Yeah.
thin. Like, look how thin that is. Like
Yeah.
36 pages of a book, right? And it's most of it's actually diagrams, like pretty pictures and
Yeah.
diagrams of it, right? But it's got the
That's right.
7 principles in it. And there you go. There's principle number 2. You can't see that because of my camera,
Yeah.
but 80
That's
20
right.
in your business,
80/20
basically.
is 2x. Yeah. And that's
What I
the
find
go ahead.
I
Go
was,
ahead.
I was going to say, what I find really interesting about how they applied this principle. So I don't know if you know about how they applied 80/20 to pricing.
Yeah, yeah, but please, I was there for all of the fractals and all this stuff, but yeah, I
Oh,
want to hear your take.
okay, great. And this is kind of ties. I mean, I like to talk about sort of pricing, but it's one of the things which can create the greatest impact in a business. But what the principle is that what they say is like, if you put 100 people in your industry in a room, or sorry, 100 clients who want to buy your products in a room, and maybe they would buy a product for $100. You could then 4x the price, and a fifth of those people would pay for it. So 20 would
Right.
pay $400 for it, and then you could do it again. So 4x the price, $1,600, and five of those people would buy it, and then you could do it again. So you end up at a point where one person would pay 64 times the price for something.
That's
And
right.
I find that so fascinating because so many business owners, especially, are playing in this game of like small and little and often, and not really like, being fearless, like pushing the boundaries when it comes to things like pricing or the types of clients they work with or the activities which they choose to focus on in their business. But actually, you need tiny little numbers with which can produce great big results. And Perry, I'm a big fan, basically, is what I'm saying, Josh.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'll back that up. And what you're talking about is kind of there's fractals of 80/20 inside of each 80/20. And the
Yeah.
example that Perry would give was about somebody going to Starbucks to get a coffee, and you would pay $2 or $3, $4 for a coffee. Most people will do that, but there's a small percentage of people who would pay, $20 for their special crazy latte. And then there's a small percentage of people that would pay $300 or $400 for the actual machine that they can take home and put in their house.
Mm.
And so there's and that works across every single industry. about what Robin is saying here about pricing. If you're in your industry and you sell a widget for $100, there is some portion of your audience, if you have the right offer, that will happily pay you 10 times as much. And then there's some small portion of that audience, as long as it's the right offer, that will pay you 10, 20, 30, 50 times that much. And it came true. I worked sales for Perry for many years. We sold a guy that bought his book, and he called up, and I answered the phone, and he says, "I need some of that consulting." And I was like, all right. And turns out this guy runs a 9-figure company, and he really needed that consulting from Perry. And I sold him, a mid 6-figure consulting contract off of a $12 book. And that's where it comes down to, like, there is one person in your audience that wants to pay you 6, 7 figures, but you just have to have the right offer in front of them.
That's it. And also you don't need to have designed that product. I mean, I know Starbucks probably designed the espresso machine but they didn't proactively go out there like touting this espresso machine. They just had it quietly sat on their shelves behind the counter. And then somebody walks in and a raving fan of Starbucks who wanted the Starbucks experience at home. And they're like, I'll take my my mocha chocolate latina, whatever, my bag of beans, and I want the full Starbucks experience. So it's that thing for sale up there. And I think a lot of business owners can learn a lot from that as well. The fact that like too many business owners get in their own way because they would come up with this concept for the espresso machine, but then they've got to design it and brand it and build a website and a landing page for it, and then go and do all of these extra steps. Whereas actually, like you've just illustrated there, wait until the right opportunity and the right person comes into your world who might be best fit for that espresso machine product, and then just pitch the concept of it. As long as that idea is there swirling around in your head, you can position it and sell it. It doesn't have to be fully formed or built. Because that's what I see is a lot of business owners just getting very stuck and bogged down, and the devil is in the detail. Rather than just going out and proactively, actually selling an idea to the right person, being brave in the moment as well. I think a lot of it depends on confidence.
Yeah, indeed, and that's a good point to kind of segue on, but because there's been so many times, and this is the thing that I think most people are afraid of. Like, don't be afraid to add a zero, because you're not wrong until you give up. And as soon as somebody says yes, well, you were right. That's
That's it. Yeah.
that's the
It's
idea.
who made up the
That's
dumb
that's
rule?
a fearless business for you right there.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. We could definitely we can go with that. But who made up like again, it's like some of these dumb rules. Who made up the rule that you could only put your prices up on January the 1st and maybe by 5 or 10% if you're feeling really brave, right? Like you can put your prices up several times a year if you want to. You can double, triple, or quintuple your prices if you want to. Like nobody has set the only place that the limit sits is up here, in somebody's mindset. But I never recommend people just go out and like triple their prices without stacking any extra value, by the way, because well, unless you're vastly underselling or undervaluing your services in the first place. But I always say to people like I have this concept around the sales cycle of doom which most businesses operate within. So it's like sell, deliver, sell, deliver, sell, deliver, sell, deliver, sell, deliver. And then they get ill or like life happens and they stop, and then they take a deep breath, and then they start doing the same thing over and over again. And generally it's because like it's very frenetic and time is very fast, and the clients are like clamoring, and most of it's because they're not charging enough. And there's like this wonderful thing which happens. It's like your universe expands when you increase your prices by enough that all of a sudden you have more time to deliver a better quality product or service to your clients, which produces better results or outcomes for them on the back end, which makes your products and services more sticky. So you make more money because you're getting better results, which also makes you more referable. So there's this like really holistic like circle which you could create for yourself. If you're confident around your prices, you position that offer at the right time that solves a big and meaningful problem for somebody. Rather than chasing your tail just because you've got to pay your mortgage and put food on your table. It's like, no, no, just slow down a second. Like life can be better.
Yeah, awesome. And so tell us about Fearless Business and how we can learn more.
Yeah, so Fearless Business, we're a business coaching accelerator. We work predominantly with like other coaches, consultants, and freelancers. And my goal is basically to help people stop charging time for money. So finding creative ways to productize their service. We have lots of conversations about pricing and money mindset and things like that. Helping people to articulate their value as well. So rather than selling based on features, how do you talk about the dream outcome or result that you're going to deliver for your clients, but not the thing that you do, the result of the thing which you do. In terms of like, if people are interested to know more, I have some signed copies waiting to be sent out for your listeners and viewers. So of Take Your Shot. So if people want to get hold of that, they're welcome to jump onto fearless.biz/TYS for Take Your Shot. And it's not like a free plus shipping or any of that rubbish. It's literally if there is an option if you want to contribute towards postage, but if you pop your address in there and can't afford postage, no problem. I'll send the book anywhere in the world. For me, part of my sort of pledge, I mean, I have a couple of businesses, they're successful enough. My pledge is that like good quality business advice should be available for free. And it's great to hear you talk about the likes of Perry Marshall and people like that, because they do offer a lot of value, give a lot of value out there, which is what I'm hoping to achieve with the book and other things like this as well.
Excellent. And so fearless.biz/TYS.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. And then we also put out regular videos on my YouTube channel as well. So you can just search for Robin Waite on there and give me a little subscribe. That'd be helpful.
Awesome. Hey, we're going to wrap up from here. Thanks so much to our guest, Robin Waite, for joining us and sharing a little bit of wisdom about how he gets stuff done. If you'd like to learn more about his book, you can go to fearless.biz/TYS, get yourself a copy. And whether you're on your morning commute in the gym or somewhere out in the field, snap a selfie, tag me at JT Literally, show me what you do while you're in the do zone. And one more time, if you want to stuff your calendar with qualified and motivated ideal clients who want what you have, download the Conversational Funnels Blueprint for free at conversationalfunnels.com. That's it. Let's get to work. Hey, thanks for listening to the Do Zone podcast. If you're running a service-based business that's looking to grow this year, let's talk about how we can slingshot you into momentum with a quick injection of cash and sales. Our clients typically see results in as little as 7 days. To learn more about what we do, you can go to factor1.io. Once again, that's factor1.io. We'll see you next time.